Good day, awesome YouTubers. It is VolleyMan16 here again for a Mob Psycho 100 episode review. This one is going to be on episode 8, and the title for this episode is The Older Brother Bows Destructive Intent. Wow. I have to say right now, this is probably the best episode so far of Mob Psycho 100. Very amazing stuff here. Very great animation. We start off with Mob and that one girl from that other one. I can't remember what club that was. Oh, it's the Psychic Club. That's what it was. It starts off with Mob and that one person from the Psychic Club still on the bench. Hanazawa-kun actually comes over and basically tells them like, "Oh, you guys are on a date. Sorry, I need Mob." So what happens here is Hanazawa takes Mob to a back alleyway where he kind of says to Mob like, basically, he, well, at least someone took his namesake and is finding a bunch of people under the name Kageyama Shingeo. So he meets this person and it is revealed to be Ritsu, as we saw in the last episode when they last faced off, the last episode. So they have kind of a talk here, a quite a big revelation. Basically, Ritsu explains to Mob that all his life he's admired him as a great guy, and he always wanted to use psychic powers to bend spoons. And when they were younger, he would cry a lot because he couldn't bend spoons, and Mob was, and he really admired Mob. But it all turns out to be fake, because what happens is Ritsu pretty much says to Mob after he gains his psychic abilities, he pretty much says, no, it wasn't admiration this entire time. It was actually fear. He actually was scared of Mob. And so what happens is Mob goes to try and apologize to the people that Ritsu beat up. And of course they say like, you should grovel, that's not enough apology. But in the background, in the behind the scenes here, remember that adult Esper that Mob sent, I think the last episode? Well, he appears in this episode, and what really, he's part of a diabolical organization named Claw. And of course, Hanazawa-kun explains this later on in the episode about the organization, because they've been following him, they've been following him around for quite a while now. What the Claw organization are basically a organization of Espers. They take and kidnap kids, Esper kids. They brainwash them and do whatever basically they get them to do whatever they want them to do, and that is pretty much to take over the world. That's their main kind of goal. And this adult Esper goes to attack Mob and Ritsu. Apparently he only around Ritsu because he doesn't know about Mob. He doesn't know Mob is a psychic. And so they start fighting. Really amazing choreography here between Mob and the adult. We don't know what his name is. He's kind of a cloaked figure, but when his cloak, actually when his face is revealed, he's kind of like looks like a douche kind of guy. He even says this in the episode. He has a like a quite a big goatee. It's not quite a beard, but it's a pretty respectable goatee. A lip ring and red eyes. It's really kind of a, oh, and he's muscular, but it's really kind of a ominous figure. So he attacks Mob, and the only intent here is to try and get Ritsu, to kidnap Ritsu. And what happens here is uh, Mob is actually at a pretty low percentage towards explosion. He goes and fight him. He puts up barriers and stuff, but of course the adult Esper is much more experienced, and he uses this ability, telekinetic helix. I think it's what it's called. It's basically he uses his psychic powers on his arm to increase its power and strength and etc. It's kind of like an energy snake going around his arm. It's really cool looking. He starts attacking Mob, but of course it doesn't do anything. And I should mention before this that he attacked Ritsu a little bit prior to this event. He attacked Ritsu That makes Mob go all out. He finally goes 100%. Holy crap, I did not expect him to go all out from this. He says basically, or he's thinking to himself, I shouldn't use these powers on other people. But he thinks, well, wait a minute, no, it's okay because this is a different circumstance. I have to protect my little brother Ritsu. And so he does this. He goes all out and just wrecks the Esper. I mean, just completely wrecks him. At one point he throws him in the sky, holding his face. It looks pretty gruesome. Throws him, or excuse me, he flies up into the air like a couple 100 feet at least, and then brings it back down. It shatters the concrete beneath, and the surrounding buildings, the glass windows break. So it looks like the adult Esper is down, but actually he's not down. He uses his trump card. I can't remember what the name is called, but anyway, he punches him really hard in the stomach. So hard, in fact, that Mob coughs out blood and he says he can't exhale or inhale because the attack was so powerful. And he's basically much just beating the crap out of Mob. And of course, this again, Mob goes all out again. It's a lot of fighting here. Really great choreography. If you guys haven't seen this fight, you should go watch it. It's really great. So anyway, after the fight, what happens here is the adult Esper attacks Mob again, but Mob has a barrier and he can't get through it. So he just takes out what seems to be in the knife, and even one of the guys who are already beat up. I think it was the kids from the other schools. They noted, well, hey, look out, he's pulling a knife, but actually he's not pulling a knife. He's pulling like a like a gas sort of thing. It's kind of like um, pepper spray, kind of some kind of deal. He sprays it in Mob's eyes, and Mob goes unconscious. Takes Ritsu and goes out, and that's the end of that scene. A little more scenes with Hanazawa afterwards, where he's trying to find some other guy who you remember last episode where Ritsu was taken to a lab. Well, it's that same guy, but this time he got beat up by that adult Esper, and he's questioned by Hanazawa, Mob, and Dimple for all purposes. Um, I have to explain this. Dimple actually came out of Ritsu when Ritsu was almost going to attack Mob because he obviously thought he could not destroy Mob. So yeah, it's Mob, Hanazawa, Kun, and Dimple all questioning this guy, and he doesn't know anything, and that's when we get the reveal of the Claw organization. And at the end of the episode, we see the adult Esper, some other kids who are from the the laboratory, and Ritsu, all going to this kind of this dark and ominous cave. That's a great cliffhanger. That's where we leave it off, guys. Amazing episode here. Really great in both action and character development, especially for Ritsu, finally realizing himself with his psychic abilities. And I'm hyped. Can't wait for the next episode. It looks like in the preview uh, we're gonna get Ritsu and the gang trying to escape, and that's all. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Stay awesome, everybody, and have a